Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we will be talking something about the list operations. So in the previous lecture we actually had an introduction to the lists. So now we will learn some basic operations which we could perform on lists. Now these tutorials may sound quite simple and it might sound a little bit boring, but when you design complex web applications in Python, these are the things which you will be needing, as these are some fundamental and basic things, and if you actually struggle with these things while designing a website, then it would become extremely difficult. So what I would recommend you is that you please pay close attention to these things while I'm explaining, and make a note of the important things which I have mentioned in these lectures. And also I will be providing you with notes at the end of each and every section, so make sure that you have those notes printed out and have them on your desk at all time. So even if you complete this course, you will have those notes for reference, so you could simply refer those notes and you could go ahead and use those concepts. So let's go ahead and let's get started with list operations. So even before learning list operations, we need to have some sample list. So let's go ahead and create that. So let's type in numbers as the name of the list, and let's save some random numbers like 1 1 1 and 1 in our list. So the very first operation which we are going to learn is that how to basically insert some value into your list. So as you could see, now we only have all ones in our list, which is numbers. Now let's say at a particular position you need to insert a value of 2. So this is the 0th position, the first, and let's say at the second position you want to insert a value of 5. So in order to do that, you simply type in numbers, then specify the index position in square brackets, which is nothing but the second position. So we type numbers of 2 equals, and then you need to specify the value which you want to have at the second position in the list numbers. So as we have mentioned, we want 5, so simply type in equals 5. Now if we actually go ahead and print out the list in order to check if the value of 5 is actually stored at the second position, we simply save the code and run the code. So as you could see, we are successful in storing the value of 5 at the second position in the list. Now if you want to actually save 5 at some different position, you could simply mention the index at which you want to store that value, or you could also change the value which you want to store by changing this value right here. So this was one of the basic list operations. Now I also want to mention that you could actually go ahead and add lists. So if you don't believe me, let's go ahead and create a new list. So let me just delete this code. So we already have one list which is numbers. Now let's go ahead and create new list which is called as, let's say, new numbers, and let's say we have some values like 2 2 2 2 and 2 over here. Now in order to actually add up to list, what we could do is that we could type in print, and here you could type in numbers plus new numbers. So what this is going to essentially do is that it is going to add up these two number lists and it is going to print out the result for us. So if we go ahead and save the code, and if we try to run this thing, as you could see, now the two lists are added. Now adding two lists essentially means that you will have one list and the next list is going to be joined to it. So you could go ahead and add as many lists as you want in Python by simply using the plus operator. Now one more thing which I would like to mention here is that you could actually go ahead and you could also multiply lists, but you could not multiply one list with other. Instead you can multiply a list with a number. So instead of having this plus here, what we are going to do is that we will try to multiply the numbers list by 3, and let's see what actually happens. So you simply type in numbers star 3, or numbers multiplied by 3, and let's save the code and run the code to see what happens. So as you could see, if you run the code, you actually have the numbers 1 printed out 15 times, and that is because you have the list which is 1 5 times, and if you actually multiply this list by 3, it is essentially going to print the list itself by 3. So in this case we will have 15 ones in our result. So essentially when you multiply a list by as fruits. Now what if we actually go ahead and simply add oranges right over here? So we type in orange here, we again save the code, and if we run it, as you could see, this time we got the result as true, because it is going to check if orange is present in fruits, and it found that orange is actually present in the fruit list, hence we got the value as true. So by using this in, what you could do is that you could check if a particular item is present in the list. So this is one of the most important thing related to list, so that whenever you are writing some complex code and you want to check if a particular item is present in the list, you could go ahead and you could check by using this in right here. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys understood the Python list operations. So the very first list operation which we have studied in this lecture was to basically add a new item in our list by using the equal to sign or assignment operator. Then we have actually learned that we could actually go ahead and we could add lists. Also, we could multiply lists by any number. And the third most important list operation which we have learned is to basically check if a particular item is present in our list or not. So that's it for this lecture, and in the next lecture we are going to learn some list functions. So this was the lecture for list operations, and in the next lecture we will be learning some important list functions which will be more interesting than this, and those list functions are actually widely used when you make complex applications using Python. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.